Alright, so here's the deal. I already posted this episode and the next episode. However, I did Season 2 as a form of first-person roleplay through the eastern half of the Appalachia map. And at first I thought it was going to be fun, something unique and different. But as I sat on it, I didn't really like how it came out. So I'm completely scrapping it. The footage is going to be completely the same, so some of my voice might not match up what you're seeing. As of the third episode that I haven't done yet, I'll be able to edit it a little bit better. I am reverting back to the third person, just explaining what it is. But on the plus side, you'll be able to get some cinematic views as I tried to make it a little bit more, I'm going to use the word again, cinematic. Now, let's go over this. So, this is going to be a tribal playthrough. Unlike the Season 1, where it was a primitive playthrough, where I was able to at least build a hut, use some weapons and tools from the Forge tier. This time, it's going to be completely tribal, which means I'm not going to be able to build anything Iron tier or greater. It's going to stay all in the Bone and Stone tier. On top of that, I do take a tonic in order to wipe out my level, so I'm starting back at level 1 instead of just creating a new character because I like this character, I'm not deleting him. I will assign myself levels as I see fit, as like I kill up a couple of creatures, so I'm like, okay, maybe I would have gained a couple of levels since then. But other than that, I'm going to be killing myself and starting over on the eastern end of the map, which, as of this recording, it was brand new to the Appalachia map. The in-game map itself is still not yet updated as of the filming of this episode. So this is completely all brand new territory. Another thing to note is I do have several creature mods on here, so we'll see how that turns out. Anyway, it is time now to start Season 2 of Appalachia, where it's going to be completely on the eastern end of the map only. It's going to have a little bit more cinematic approach to it, a little bit more roleplay-esque. I do apologize for the footage being a little bit grainy. Again, I had to kind of download the footage from YouTube, salvage what I can, and I'm kind of re-voicing over it. And the second episode is also going to be like that, but the third one should not be. So, let's get into it finally. Since this was supposed to be a role playthrough, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you the story. So, the character, who is Ursius, would have woken up after a tribal war, alone and stranded, and of course injured. This is when I walk over to the shoreline and begin to follow it, because when I spawned in, it spawned me all the way on the southern end of the map, at least on this eastern half. So I follow it north so I can go a little bit more inland. Around this time is when I start gathering fiber, twigs, and anything I can get in order to start making some gear. The first thing I do is, of course, craft some pants. I'll have to craft the rest of it later. Now, my character does find a beached whale. I observe it for a little bit and then continue on. He stops and kind of crouches around the mammoth because you do not want to disturb such a mighty beast. A bunch of wolves then come out of the woods and attack me. Luckily, I was able to jump into the water and avoid them, but nothing could have prepared me for the warband of goblins that had rushed out of the woods and completely shred me to pieces. Yeah, one of the mods I have adds fantasy creatures, so goblins are kind of a pain in the ass on this map. Anyway, one of the other mods I have is Appalachian Desidens, which is part of the Appalachia map, which allows this deer to look really cool. Now, he lowers his head, and I thought he was getting ready to attack me. As I turn around to follow him, I see that there's a boar running up behind me. Now, these boars are absolutely deadly. They have a ton of health, and they do a lot of damage, like more so than a raptor or even a Daeodon, so I quickly run away from it. Now, the boar is not the only thing that chased me. I also got chased by a spiky boy over here that's gaining speed. Yeah, he does end up killing me, so I end up having to run again. I eventually make my way a little bit more inland. I craft myself some rudimentary tools and a campfire. This right here is going to be where I set up my base. Now I go ahead and I set the campfire because night is descending upon me, and this map is a cold map. You're not going to really see it here, but my character is freezing. Now, I do have a river nearby which has a ton of fish. However, a lot of the fish is aggressive, and what's even more deadly is you have a lot of the water scorpions. I don't know how to pronounce their names. They're like Etripids or something. Those things are teeming in this river. So, yeah, the water is not safe at all, but it is going to be a source of easy food for the time being. I'm just going to have to create myself a spear. Now then, I I go ahead and I do that, and I jump into the water. This is when I first find the water scorpion swimming around, as well as some fish. So I go ahead and I curl up to it. Now you'll also notice that a lot of the fish on this map is brand new because it's from the Appalachian Deserts mod, so if you've not played this, you have probably would not seen them, but all of the creatures from that mod are based off of North American primarily creatures, so you're going to have a lot of bluegill, big mouth bass, and other fish. As I set the fish to cook, I gaze around at nighttime because it is absolutely beautiful on this map. At times you can see an aurora in the sky. Can't see it quite yet because it is twilight, but it still looks absolutely gorgeous. Now I don't have any shelter up yet, but it turns out I desperately will need one because even though I was kind of standing guard there for any creatures to sneak up on me in the middle of the night, my character started getting the freezing debuff, which meant I was not gonna last long, so I quickly used my rudimentary tools to gather up as much thatch and wood as I can, as well as fiber. If I can get up just a couple of walls and some roofs, as well as bring my campfire closer, I'll be able to survive this night. So I go ahead and I make half a hut, which I'll have to improve upon later on. I craft myself a torch, and I quickly head inside where I can stay warm and not freeze to death. Now, while I am inside, I do work a little bit more on it as I can. It's rudimentary for right now, but it's going to have to be improved upon later on. Again, this is going to be a tribal playthrough, so I don't expect it to get any, bigger than that. It's going to be basically a TP. By the next morning, I try to fish. I see a big one right there, and I throw my spear a couple of times, but I completely miss. This is also when I find out that some of the fish in this river are very aggressive, so yeah, that actually kind of surprised me. Back to the story of this character. As you remember from the previous day when a Irish elk, or I like to call the king elk, had saved my character from a boar, this is when my character embodies the spirit of the elk king. So I'm going to be making totems throughout this playthrough representing all of the great spirits that he comes across. Now then, the TP is done. I have a fireplace nearby and some food, but it's not going to last me long, so I'm going to have to go out and search for more. While walking through the river, this is when I come across my first aggressive fish. Now you can actually see it instead of me telling it to you. I go ahead and I shoot my arrow, and I do manage to hit it, but it doesn't kill it right away. So these guys, I think this one was a bass, they're skinned over the saber-toothed salmon, which is why they're aggressive, and look at all that blood coming from it, like holy crap. But I do manage to take it out, so I chop it up, get some meat, and I head over to the next fish. Now this one I'm bringing out of the water so you can see it. It's actually quite large. You can find some pretty big ones out there. Though as I was looking at this one, which I believe is called a shoe nose fish or something other than that, it kind of got stuck in the ground so you can't see it. I do get attacked by a dire wolf. That dude just kind of came out of nowhere and started attacking me. I used my spear to try to fend it off, but he does get the better of me and take me out. After recovering my stuff and seeing that the dire wolf is gone, I go ahead and I continue along the river where a Daeodon comes out of the bushes. Now the Daeodon is very slow, so I think I can outrun it. I throw a couple of spears at the Daeodon hoping that it would take it out, but it didn't do enough damage. These dudes have a lot of health, so I get into the water where it does lose a lot of speed. I am able to outrun it. As I gain some distance, I turn around and I throw some spears, filling its face up like a porcupine. As I get a few of them in there, I quickly have to turn and keep swimming to get distance. Though I notice it turn around, so I figured if it's running away, this is my chance, and I start throwing more spears at it. It took a while, but the Daeodon actually does go down. This is my first major kill of this playthrough. That's not, of course, including fish. So yeah, definitely gonna be a note on the board. Now, you won't see it in this episode, but something that I do in this playthrough is not only just the totems for the roleplay aspect, I also do body paint based on the various trials that I put my character through from the spirits, but also I make myself cave paintings of all of the various great feats of strength that I put myself through. This boar hunt being the first of many. Check out this campfire. I actually don't remember what mod has it, but it's basically a regular campfire that has a few extra item slots, and it has a little fish grilling above it. I thought that was aesthetically pleasing. Now, I do go out hunting again, but I don't really find anything. I am also not quite equipped yet to take on bigger creatures. I do eventually need to get myself some tames, which is going to be a little bit harder with the limitations that I have. I do find a dead Argentavis. I don't know exactly what killed it as of yet, but I don't want to stick around to find out what it was. Now, this was me really risking it because I did have a bedroll up in order to respawn after the wolf killed me earlier, but I don't have a bed up. So after I harvest the birds, I head back and I quickly place a bed. That way I have a safety net if anything happens in the future. And it actually fits in the teepee this time around. Last time I did a teepee, it did not fit, and that was in the season 1. But that's going to be the end of episode 1. I got a lot done, got a camp up, a teepee, and some rudimentary gear. Now then, let's go into episode 2.